Hey guys, and welcome back. I'm really excited today. We are going to be interviewing a fellow Australian author called D L Gallie. She lives up in Gladstone. I have not personally been there, but we're going to talk all about it. Now, Dana's been publishing for 4 years now. It's actually her 4 year anniversary in August, so congratulations to her. She has published 18 books, and we're going to talk about a little bit of her BookBub success, how she started writing, what gave her the inspiration for her first book, Malt Me, and just in general, all the fun and all the challenges and all the accomplishments within the writing industry. So, without further ado, let's get straight into it and let's meet Dana. So, first of all, a big hello to Dana. Thank you so much for joining me today.
That's all right. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So let's get straight into it. My first question is, what is it like to live in Gladstone, Australia?
In Gladstone. Well, I grew up here and left after high school, vowing never going back because mum's not there and don't want to go back. And then my husband got a job transferred up here and it's like, we're going back to Gladstone. And I'm like, yay. I wasn't too excited about it to start with, but clearly I'm fine because we've been back for 8 years now. And it's pretty cool. My kids get to go to the primary school that I went to.
That's cool.
Surprisingly enough, one of the teachers from when I went to school is still there. So he's been there for, I'll give my age away now, he would have been there in 85. So that's like, what, 40 years?
Wow.
Almost 40 years that he's been teaching at the school there. So that's pretty cool. He doesn't remember me. Bit rude.
I was going to ask that, did he recognize you? Because he'd be like, is this kid going to be a troublemaker or are they a really like A-plus student?
No, I don't think he remembers me. But then my kids keep asking him, like, do you remember my mum? And they'll be like, Dana Gallie? And I'm like, I wasn't a Gallie back then, kids. So he probably won't remember me. And then we ran into him. The school had a big anniversary thing. And I'm like, hi. And he's like, looks at me. And I'm like, you were my teacher back in the day. He's like, thanks for making me feel old.
Gladstone, I don't think I've ever been as far as Gladstone. So it's kind of like a rural, larger town, isn't it? Like
It's not really rural. We're on the coast. It's a big industrial town. So we've got one of the biggest ports in Queensland. So we do a lot of coal exports. We've got the gas plants doing gas exports, and then there's alumina and cement and all these other things. And there's a big rail line that comes in as well. So we kind of do a little bit of everything.
Okay, that's cool. So
Yeah.
Gladstone isn't like a little country town gone big like I thought. It's actually like bringing a lot of money in for us. That's fabulous.
Exactly. It's one of the big places. It was actually a place considered for the capital of Queensland back in the day, but they chose Brisbane instead. Yeah.
Wow. I'm so un-Australian. My education's a little low.
That's all right. People say to me, oh, I live in such and such. And I'm like, I've got no idea where that is.
So my next question is, what gave you the inspiration to write your first book, Malt Me?
I don't know really. My husband is quite a brewer himself. So the lead character in Malt Me is Jordan, and he likes to tinker and brew. And I kind of wrote from something that I knew. So I said, oh, he can have the brewery on the side. And it's funny, people always ask me whether because of that, whether Jordan is based on my husband. I'm like, no. Funny thing, out of all the books I've written, none of my male leads are based on my husband. So,
that's a common question though. A lot of people do ask authors that, is this based off your husband? And most of them are like, no, this is escapism.
It's like, I wish my husband could do half these things. But no, yeah. And then I sat down one day and just started writing, and then boom. I think in my first session, I wrote 200 words and I thought that was the bee's knees. And then, yeah, it just flowed. It took me about 8 months to write that one. So it changed a few times along the way.
What made you want to write in the first place then? And then obviously your story kind of built on from there. But what was the first time you're like, I'm going to sit down and write a book?
Troy said to me one time, he goes, you should write a book. Because I was at that point, I was beta reading for a lot of authors that I'd met online. And he's like, you should just turn it into something that you want. And I'm like, I failed English at school. I'm not going to be able to do that. And then one day an idea just came. So I sat down and boom, now I've got 18 books out.
Amazing. And that's only you would have just celebrated your 4-year anniversary as well, because your first one came out in 2016, August 7th, wasn't it?
Yes, it is. That's good memory.
Ah, look at me go, like, hoo. But 18 books in 4 years. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. A lot of them are novellas, so I can't really take the credit for that. But there's quite a few novellas and then full-length novels. I'm getting back into the full-length novel side of things with the next ones. I've few that I've got planned, so they'll probably take me a little bit longer and won't be punching them out as fast. But
did you do anything special to celebrate your 4-year anniversary?
No, I didn't actually.
No.
I always, every year on the anniversary of them, I'll have a bowl of bubbly and I'll share that with the hubby. So I did have some bubbly to celebrate it. But apart from that, actually, no, I don't think I did this year because it was midweek and I try not to have a drink midweek if I can. I save that for the weekends. Don't drink on school nights. But yeah, no, I didn't really do anything this year. Maybe next year I will for the 5-year because that's pretty like halfway to 10 mark. So
do you write your books as you go, or do you discipline yourself with set dates and projects? What's your way? Because 8 books in 4 years is a lot. Well, it's work.
I don't know. I find if I don't have a deadline to work, I'll just procrastinate and that. So I set myself, okay, I want to have this book done by this date, and set them in. So it's just loose things that I've set for myself.
Okay.
And go from there. So it's not really anything major like, yes, this is what I'm going to do. But if I've got a rough deadline, it gives me a goal to work towards rather than being lazy and drinking coffee all the time.
So with your first one, with Malt Me, you said it took you 8 months to write. What did you do leading up to actually releasing it? And did you celebrate that release with anything special?
Again, I had bubbly to celebrate the release of that one. That's kind of my go-to. Because I was a new author, I had no idea what I was doing. I did do a cover reveal and then had a release tour booked in. But apart from that, I kind of had no idea. Didn't run any Amazon ads or Facebook ads or anything. I kind of just punched it out in the world and had this expectation that I'll sell 1 million copies straight away. And then you're like, it doesn't quite work like that.
Did you find it easier because you were already beta reading for some authors? Did you find already without realizing it that you had created a little network already? So when you...
I had, yeah. It was crazy to see like people that I'd beta read for or other authors that I kind of knew online, how when I had my first release, they all shared it and was like, this person's awesome, buy their books and all that. So it was pretty cool, just the fame from other people, like that was, well, not fame as such, but just the promotion and encouragement from other authors, and that was pretty cool. And that's one thing I love about the indie community is that everybody's got each other's backs. And even if you write in different genre or you've got completely different stories, everyone's willing to help everyone when it comes to a release, because some readers will read multi-genres. So it's nice to help others because they'll help you and you might find new readers through that as well. And I've often found new genres myself from reading other ones like that. So
did you ever, so when you first went into this, was it always you wanted to indie publish? Did you ever think about the traditional publish side, or did you straight away know that independently publishing was for you?
I think I decided indie publishing was more for me because I can be my own boss and set my own deadlines. I don't think I could handle the pressure of a publisher of like, you've got to have this done by this date and it's like locked in. Whereas when you're an indie like me, if I set a date and I don't quite make it, it's not the end of the world. Yep. So I can work around it. But I think, having to write to a specific deadline, I think that would be a bit hard for me. I think now that I've done a few, I probably will maybe shop around and see, because it would be pretty cool to see my books in a bricks and mortar store. But I think that's not the be all and end all of it, because I can still get my paperbacks and have all those pretties sitting there myself.
Yeah.
That all makes sense.
Yeah, it does completely. I want to ask about your Castaway Grove collection or series because I
Yeah.
noticed that each of them are in different locations. And I'm curious because you've traveled a lot yourself. So I'm curious as to whether all of these locations that you write them about are they places that you've been, or do you research on those places and that's how you fabricate the environment?
They're
Or
all kind of like Castaway Grove's a made up place.
yeah,
So the different locations within it are just made up places. They're not real. So it's nothing that nowhere I've ever been. But because I have been to beach resorts, I've been to Hawaii and Vanuatu and things like that, I kind of loosely use those things. Bora Bora is my go-to place because I really, really want to go there in life. So like I research it and my characters get to have these amazing holidays in Bora Bora. So it sounds like I know what I'm talking about with Bora Bora, but I've never been there, but it is on my bucket list. So I think I try to use made up locations so that way you're not locked into specifics of a location, because if you get something wrong, I'd hate that thing. Or if there's something in the little town that pisses you off, you can say it without offending anybody because it is a made up place.
it's quite clever. I love that. So the next after COVID, Bora Bora is where you're going.
Yes, please. My husband said I could go anywhere for my 40th. And years ago, I said, I want to go to Bora Bora. He's like, yep, we can do that. And then now it's looming. I'm like, I'm not going to get to Bora Bora for my 40th. He's like, there's always your 50th.
Just get a big poster, put it on the back or something, the veranda, and just like, I'm at Bora Bora.
I'll probably do that if I'm still stuck at home then. For my 30th, I went to Mexico and I had plans to sit on the beach and just drink margaritas and eat nachos and just have the best Mexican experience. And I fell pregnant with my son 8 weeks before we left. So I spent the time sitting on the beach, drinking mocktails and eating tacos.
We touched on it a little bit before, but what are the things that you wish you knew, what you know now? What do you wish you knew when you released your first book that you would have done differently on your first release straight away?
I wish I would have waited to have all of the books in the series written before I released them, because there was quite a big gap between when the first one and the fourth one came out. So I think if I could have had my time over, I would have waited for all four to be out, like written before I do that. But in saying that, with my falling novels, I'm still writing those as I release them. But I think because I'm a faster writer now and know a bit more what I'm doing, that one's not as pressurized to get them out. So the falling books seem to be coming out every 3 months. Whereas with the Liquor Cabinet series, I think there was a 7-month gap between the first book and the second book. Then the third book was quite quickly after the second book. And then the fourth book, so the second, third and fourth came out quite quickly, but there was that big gap between 1 and 2. So I wish I'd waited to have all of those and had a bit more of a marketing plan, like an actual written down one, rather than just going, she'll be right.
I think a lot of authors do that as well. Like I know from personal experience, when I first started writing, I was very, very quick. Like I was publishing every couple of months. But then I made the mistake to release more than one series. So, and then the last 2 years when I've been in Edinburgh, I kind of like I took a little bit of time off for me, but now there's been like a massive wait. And so readers aren't exactly happy with that, I want to say, but you don't realize how much it can affect one, strain the reader relationship, but also especially on your first books that you're releasing, you never realize how they're going to go. Like you don't expect such a massive feedback. So when you get it, there's all of a sudden this amounted pressure on you to get them out quickly. And so a lot of people do the rapid release technique where they've already written like 4 or 5 and they'll release one every month, and it helps like market and sales and stuff. But nobody knows.
But if you take the risk of doing that, if you write them all, they may not like them. So even though you like them and nobody else does it, you've got this 4 or 5 book series that no one's buying because you kept it all back and waited. So it's kind of that double-edged sword juggling act of like, do I, don't I, what do I do, and all that. But I think that's where I love my beta readers. They tell me, they're like, this is great, this is crap, you need to fix this or whatever. I've got a good team behind me to help me and boost me up when I'm like, oh my God, this is shit. I'm just going to scratch this last 50,000 words. And they're like, no, don't do that.
It's so funny. Did you find that are some of your beta reader friends that you had prior to publishing your first book? So you already knew
Yeah,
them?
they are. They're all friends. And then I've also got I try and use different beta readers with each book just so that you get that new life put into them. But I do have a couple that they're my go-to. I'm like, please be available when I've got a book to beta read. And they're like, yep, I'm here. I've got one and she's brilliant. She's like totally honest, tells me what she loves, tell me what she hates. I love getting her beta notes because there's like emojis, there's growls, there's cries, there's tears. There's such good feedback. She'll even pick out teaser lines for me. Like, she's just the best beta reader I've found, and I'm never going to let her go.
Locked in, yours for life.
Exactly. It's it. You're mine, no one else.
So you have 18 books.
Mm-hmm.
What was your number one favourite to write and why?
Number one favourite to write? I'll probably say the one that's coming out next month, Falling for Agent Cox. It's based around Baylor, who's the sister from the girl in Falling for Dr. Kelly, and nobody liked her. Everybody hated her with a passion, but I always knew that underneath her bitchy Baylor exterior was this woman with a heart of gold. So I said to my beta reader, I said, I'm going to give Baylor a story. She's like, nah, don't like that bitch. Don't do it. And a lot of people said that. And I went, but no, just trust me. And I think, I can't say too much about it because it's not out yet, but I think it's probably the best turnaround story. Like, you get this character who, she's a bitch, but there's reasons why she puts up that bitchy exterior, and underneath it all is just a heart of gold. And she just needed to find the right person to bring out her goodness. And I think her and Corey together, like, they're so opposites. Like, she's bitchy Baylor. He's an agent, a straight-laced agent who walks the line. He doesn't ever veer off the beaten path. And just, they're so opposite, but so perfect together at the same time. And just their story, I love it. It's like a enemies to lovers romance, but then you've got your mafia twist thrown in just to give it a bit of everything. And yeah, I just love their story. And the cover's probably my favorite from all that series as well. And that comes out next week. So
that's so exciting.
Super excited for that.
That's so exciting. So actually, I'm thinking when I probably upload this video, it'll probably already be out for a week. But still grab your copy, everyone, because that sounds really good. I'm going to pre-order my copy. That sounds so good.
The best thing about the Falling series is, even though they're connected, they can all be read separately. Amazing. So they cross over a little bit, but it doesn't give too much away story-wise with everything. So you can start with Cox when he comes out next month.
Oh, I mean, I may even just have to ask for like a signed copy. We live in the same state. I don't know. Maybe you can send me a signed copy. Yes.
I'm sure I could arrange something like that.
I'll get my people to talk to your people. We'll see what.
All right. Sounds good. We'll hook them up after this.
My next question is, what was the thing that you found most challenging in the industry, and what are you most proud of? What's your biggest accomplishment been so far?
Most challenging is when you get that review that's negatively nasty. Like, you have one, like, I understand not everybody's going to like everything, but there's a way to say you don't like it without being nasty. And I think you've got to have quite a thick skin sometimes, because people can just be absolutely brutal with what they say. So I kind of make a habit of not going on Goodreads and reading reviews, because some days it can just, if you're having a bad day and you read that, it just, I don't know, it cuts you deep. Like, I've had nasty, no, not nasty, but ones where they're like, I didn't like the story, and that was their opinion, and that was fine. They're just like, okay, well, not everybody likes it. But when they just get nasty and more personal than attacking the story and all that, I find that hard to deal with sometimes. But luckily, a lot of the community is great. You have a bad day like that, and you can just message someone and say, I've got a shit review. And they're like, that's fine. And then they can just cheer you up with just a GIF or a meme or just something. So it's always good to have that support network behind you that can boost you up when you're having that down day over something.
And it's hard because that's what happens when you put yourself out there, you know, with your books.
Exactly. And I understand everybody's got an opinion, but there's a way to put a negative opinion across without being harsh.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I find the hardest is you don't like the story, fair enough, but don't attack me as a person. I'm a person too and have feelings and can sit there and cry in the corner because you're mean.
And you're a beautiful, lovely person. So
damn.
Like, exactly. I don't have a big button anywhere, so goodbye to them.
Exactly.
What are you most proudest of? What has been your biggest accomplishment so far?
Biggest accomplishment? I think I got a BookBub deal. Like that was just applied, and then you get that one, you've got it. And I was just like, yo! And my husband's like, what's happened? And I'm like, I got a BookBub. He's like, okay, great. I'm like, dude, this is like the best thing ever.
Everything.
And it was. I thought I've heard stories of BookBubs doing really, really well or those collapsing. And then so I signed up for it and it was like a couple of days beforehand. And then that's when oh my God, what if it fails? Like, what if I don't do anything? And it did brilliant. I had an international one and I managed to crack the #1 category in Canada, Australia, and the UK. And the US, I just ran a couple of other ads with it and it got up really, really high in those categories as well. Like it was the highest ranking I've ever had. And I was just, that's probably the best achievement I've had of getting that first orange banner on a book for myself. Like I've had orange banners been in anthologies before, but I'm like, that's kind of cheating because I had 12 other people to help me get that one. But this was like my first achievement for me, getting it all by myself. So I was pretty stoked with all of that.
The BookBub is like the mother of like everyone wants a BookBub. Yes, congratulations.
Thank you.
The hard question.
Okay.
What are the 3 top marketing tips you would offer to authors?
Marketing tips.
Yeah.
Cohesive consistency through your advertising. I used to just, when I'd make teasers, you'd find a picture and whack it up and then you've got like 5 different couples on your teasers and things like that. So now what I do for mine is I try and use the collage collection from the cover. Like when you cover, most of the time there's all different pictures. So I now try and use the same couple throughout with it so it's all cohesive through. I'm in the process of going through and updating the teasers for the Falling series so that they're all cohesive between each book rather than having their different things. So when people will see that, hopefully it'll spark in their mind, oh, that's Dana's series and things like that. So cohesive marketing, network with other authors. That's probably a big one, helping each other out. Don't try and go it alone. You need a team behind you. Like as much as you want to have the control, you need that network of people to help you out, to bounce ideas and everything. And number 3, hard.
With the networking, do you do a lot of author signings and events?
I do, yeah. I try and do at least one a year. Obviously this year didn't quite pan out. But at this stage, I'm booked in to do the next Books by the Bridge in Sydney in February, as long as that goes ahead, hopefully. But yeah, no, I love going to author signings, meeting new authors or the readers and everything. Aussie readers are pretty hardcore. Like they are so supportive of everybody. I have done an international signing, but I have to say the Aussie readers are so much more life. I don't know whether it's just the Aussiness in us and how outgoing and everything we are. Like I did one in the UK and they were like in Belfast. But I think British people are very kind of reserved compared to Aussies. So it was very, as much as I had a ball and met great readers and everything, the liveliness of the Aussie signings was just, I don't know, it's just that little bit more party town, like what Aussies are.
Well, how you doing?
Exactly.
So what novel are you working on at the moment?
I'm actually writing 3 at the moment.
Oof.
I've never written across 3 different novels before. It's always just one at a time, but I saw a pre-made cover a few weeks back and it sparked an idea, and I contacted the designer to purchase it, but somebody beat me to the punch. But I'm like, no, whatever, I'm still going to write this story. So I have a sports rom-com that I'm writing. I've never done that before. I'm keeping the title hidden at the moment, so it's just an acronym of the title that I'm using, which is IPHL. Hang on.
What could this be?
I can't remember what it is now. Put on the spot, and I haven't even, like, it's that so new that I haven't even jotted down my notes or started my character portfolios to check it and see what my cheat sheet is. But it's IPHTILY.
Right, I'm going to be on that all day going, what could it be? What could it be? How do you write? What is your writing routine? Because you just mentioned character portfolios and such then. So for example, let's use this one. You've just had a spark of an idea. How does your writing usually go? Do you create all your sort of character development portfolios and then do you lay it out and write it, or do you just write and see things coming?
Write, like sometimes I don't write start to finish. An idea hits and I'll write it. Every book I've written, I've had the ending written before I get to that point. So I've got to like lead it up to the ending and get to that. And I've got, like, if a scene, I can be listening to a song and it'll spark a scene. So I'll sit there and just write it out and then sit it there, and then I can just copy and paste it and drag it into the spot that's needed for it. I tend to have my 2 main characters nutted out before I start. And I recently just found this really awesome character creation form. So now each time when I write it, I print it out and start. And it's like their name, their colour, their description. So it's a quick cheat sheet reference, because I have a habit of forgetting what colour hair I've set my character with, or eye colour, or what their mum's name is and everything. So when I'm writing, I've always got insert name here or insert pub name or whatever, because I just completely forget what I've just recently created. Yeah. So my Bibles are handy. I think I've got one here. You can see they've got little tabs indicating each story that I'm written. So it's all their cheat sheet reference, okay, I'm working on Agent Cruz at the moment. So you flip to that section and you've got notes jotted down for scene ideas or bouncing ideas. I can be chatting with a beta reader and they're like, you should do this. And I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. So jot it down, or I'll be like, hey, what do you think of this? And they're like, oh, yeah, that's great.
You're so organised.
Now I am. It used to just be stuff everywhere when I started, bits of paper here, there and everywhere. So now I kind of like have my pile of stuff. That's it. I can't wait. With COVID, I got kicked out of my office because my husband was working from home. So he needed the comfy office chair and the big desk so he could do his work, but he's going back to work full time next week. So I'm like, yes, I get my office back.
Like, get out. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Exactly. And I'm like, you're not coming back. If you come back, that's it. You can work from the dining room table this time.
I love it. Do you find it difficult to work in a different environment, or do you adapt easily, or is your office your space?
No, I can write anywhere. I kind of, I used to have an iMac, but it died. So I started writing on my laptop, and it was great because you can take it anywhere. So I can, as long as I've got my cheat sheets and some snacks, I can pretty much write anywhere. So I'm actually off on a writer's retreat this weekend with some local authors. We're going to Agnes. We've rented a house. There's 4 of us going, and we're just going to smash out some words over the weekend. So
I'm so jealous. That's so good.
Yeah, we've done it once before. I couldn't make it to another one that they had. So yeah, it's a great weekend. The first one we went to, I think I wrote like 20,000 words in the weekend. So we've got an extra day this time. So I'm hoping to maybe write 10,000 words in one day, which would be great because that'd be like a big chunk of my next novel done if I could do that. So
All right. So this is my favorite question to ask. What is your largest goal? What is the dream that you're chasing for your books?
I think I'd like to hit number one on release day. Like that would be pretty awesome, and in multiple countries, like not just everywhere, just number one everywhere on release day or close to a release, rather than like being a full price book rather than a sale
Yeah.
hitting number one. So that's my goal. Love to hit number one on release day with a full price book.
Well, that'll be that release coming up in the next week.
Exactly. Agent Cost will be that one.
I'll be posting everywhere. Buy this book, buy this book, buy this book.
Exactly.
So I have some little random questions at the end. So the first one is, what's your favorite travel location and why?
Travel location? My husband and I did a whole big 3-year travel around the world thing after we got married. We sold our house in Brisbane and packed everything up and went overseas. And we lived in the UK for 2 years and then Canada for another 12 months. And we just traveled everywhere. It was just young, carefree, didn't have a care in the world. It's like, let's go to London for the weekend. Okay. So we were living in Belfast. So we pack up the car and go to London for the weekend, or duck over to Glasgow just for a night because you can cross the channel. And we did quite a few Kentucky tours, and Rome is probably the best place. That's like, of everywhere that we went, Rome is a highlight for me. I just loved the city, the food and pasta, and just, yeah, Rome was my highlight. Could go back there.
I am so jealous right now. Like, that's hashtag husband and wife goals. That's amazing. Wow. And I agree with Rome's beautiful. I love Rome, but I'm just like, you've inspired me today. That's what I want to do. I'm going to meet a future spouse and be like, these are the goals. If you can't be like this, then no, it's not happening. What's something that you're terribly horrible at? Like, is it singing or washing dishes or just something you super
I'm so uncoordinated, it's not funny. Like, I can trip on a flat surface. I can trip upstairs, downstairs. Actually broke my ankle walking downstairs. I was carrying washing to the laundry and my towel dropped down and I tripped on it and crack, crunch, crack, broke my ankle and tore all the ligaments as well. So that was fun.
You don't do anything half-assed, do you?
Oh, no, I don't. If you're going to do something, don't go the whole hog. And I wake up all the time and I'm like, how did I get that bruise? And it's like, just, yeah, I can walk into walls. Like, we've lived in this house for 5 years and I don't know how many times when I'm walking from the lounge room to the kitchen, we've got these like little half walls. I'll smash into the one at the other end, guaranteed, at least once a week, and end up with a big bruise on the arm there.
What's your favourite drama show?
My favourite drama show? Husband and I are watching Outlander at the moment, so I'd have to say Outlander.
What's it like? I've been told I should watch it. I haven't, but...
Just watch it for Jamie.
All right, sold.
But no, it's like, it's funny. It's all about time travel and like that ultimate love that just lasts and lasts. And the two leads, you would honestly think that are in a relationship in real life. Like, the chemistry between the two of them is just off the charts, amazing. My daughter was up one night and we were watching it and it got to one of those scenes and she's sitting there going, oh my God. I'm like, oh yeah, probably shouldn't watch this while you're still awake. Go to bed early.
Leave Jamie's mind. Get out.
Exactly.
What's your favourite colour and why?
I've always loved purple.
Okay.
And I don't know why. It's not pink. I'm not a girly, so pink is just too girly, but purple's girly enough but masculine enough.
So
why my logo branding's all purple. So
my next question then is, have you ever had purple hair? Because I can see that you have red hair and I've had red hair and then I was inclined to go orange and purple. Did you do purple?
No, I haven't had purple, but it's funny. I was looking when my son mentioned my silver sprinkles a few weeks back. I thought of just doing, that silvery purple.
Mm.
I thought of going that colour, so then that way it would just all blend in as it grows back. But because I've had this reddy orange for so long, it'd take so much bleach to bleach all this out and do it. And I'm just like, nah, I don't have enough time to sit in the hairdresser's chair for 60 hours. But one day when I get sick of long hair, I'll probably chop it off short and maybe change it again. So I change my hair colour all the time. So
That's the reason why I ask, because I find people who usually have red through their hair, because I used to have red hair, and that it took me forever to go blonde, because once you go red, it's very hard going back to anything else. But people are usually more playful with their hair color and stuff. So I usually find if you've done red, you've done copper, you've done purple.
Yep.
I've never gone as far as blue,
I think
though.
I've done everything but black. I don't think I could rock the black hair.
Yeah.
And I think that would be really, really hard to change if you decided, oh no, I don't like that. So I've had I've had copper, I've had burgundy, I've had dark brown, I've had the blonde with the highlights through it, I've had brunette with highlights through it. I think I've done everything over the years.
Love it. And last but not least, what is the best song to describe you?
Best song to describe me? Probably Crazy.
I love the laugh that comes after that, though. That laugh is everything.
My husband would probably say Bitch by Meredith Brooks, but anyway. Again, that would be Baylor's theme tune.
Well, we can lock those two in. You can have both if you want.
Exactly. I'd be like Crazy and Bitch.
We'll lock it in. Well, that's all my questions. Do you have anything that you want to add, or anything that's upcoming, or the floor is all yours?
No, probably Agent Cox is coming out 3 October and the cover reveals 3 September. And I'll be punching that out everywhere because, as I said, Agent Cox is my most favourite story that I've written. Baylor's my most favourite heroine I've written because she's just, I just love her to pieces. And I think in her, there's a lot of me in her. So when my beta readers said she's a bitch, I'm like, do you think I'm a bitch? But no, it's just, that's my favourite story. And it covers everything. You've got the romance, you've got the suspense, it's got the comedy. It's just, that story has everything to it. So
thank you so much for coming on today, Dana. It's been so much fun.
Thank you for having me. I didn't swear, so I'm very happy.
That's all right. We can swear. It's okay. I swear a lot.
When I get nervous, I tend to, the swear words slip out here, there and everywhere. So I'm always conscious about not doing it. But I did well today. So
you did so well. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Next a bit red with the nervous rash.
No, it was really fun. So, and you did great.
Oh, thank you.
I'm going to love you and leave you. So have a good day.
I will. You too.
Bye.